Welcome into Larry Miller Field on the campus of Brigham Young University, the side of the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament. On KSLSports.com, your online home for state championships. Dusty Litster with you, so glad to have you along with us. It's elimination morning as we have two one-loss games coming at you, and then these teams, whoever wins, will come back this afternoon to play against the unbeaten teams in their end of the bracket. And we have a fun one. Salem Hills taking on Jordan. And let's start first with the defensive alignment for the Salem Hills Skyhawks. At first base, Zach Nelson. Second base, Corbin Gold. On third base, Charlie Cushing. And at short is Kason Averett. In the outfield and left field is Caden Hansen. Center field, Nolan Miller. And in right is Garrett Holt. The battery for this morning's game, Cam Coburn and Roper Kay. And leading things off for Jordan is Hunter Gaddy. And Hunter looks at ball one. And the 1-0 chopped down the first baseline, but foul. And it'll even the count of the ball and a strike. These two played earlier this week, played on Monday, and it was a decisive, well, it was a 4-2 win for Salem Hills. We had the first rain delay of the week in that game. It was 2-0 or probably 4-0 in the rain delay. Jordan came back out, played to 2 runs, had the game tying run on first base when Nolan Miller finished his complete game, and it took a 4-2 win for Salem Hills. Chopped at the plate and foul, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Salem Hills lost yesterday to Timpanogos, who has been an absolute buzzsaw in the first 2 days here at Larry Miller Field. As Gaddy lifts this one in to left, and that one handled easily by Caden Hansen for the first out of the inning. And now I'll bring up the first baseman, Kobe Carter. And the first hit batsman of the day. That's Baker's dozen now for the week. 13 hit batsman. And I'll bring up the hot hitting Cade Nalder. And nothing tells you more about how well a guy's hitting that they intentionally walked him yesterday. And Nalder looks to strike one, outer half. And that pitch misses, leaves the count 1-1. Big swing from Nalder. Strike 2. And the 1-2, he was the count up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 from Coburn misses down, and the count goes to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Coburn 8-1 on the season. Nalder fouls that one off down the third baseline and will stay at full count. But Coburn 8-1 on the year on 12 appearances, got 1 save as well, a 2.24 ERA. And check swing, he did. Strike 3, and there's 2 down. The umpire read the intent of Nalder, distilled it, and called it a strike, or called it a swing, and that is strike 3. And that one misses. Back-to-back days for Jordan playing at 11 a.m. Had the 11 a.m. game yesterday against Orem. That pitch misses. It was a 7-2 victory yesterday for the Beetdiggers. Check swing did not go. So the count goes 3 balls and no strikes. The 3-0 pitch misses up and in. That's a 4-pitch walk. So a 2-out walk puts a runner in scoring position. So now with runners on first and second, that's going to bring up Boston Williams as Stockton Mathis draws the walk. And a good bat to walk yesterday. Mathis hit the ball extremely well. So Bo Williams to the plate, the shortstop, the chance to drive in a first inning run. That misses wide. Gives us a chance to remind you, we've got the, obviously, games here. The 6A tournament going on at UVU. That they're the late night tournament. They're running the heat stroker at UVU, playing the middle of the night. JT Wistersil's there. Dane Stewart already got started this morning with lacrosse at Westminster. And, of course, Alex Napolis trying to stay away from lightning delays today. He said 4 games delayed because of lightning at Zions Bank Stadium. And Alex Napolis holding down the fort at 5A, 6A soccer. So the count even at a ball and a strike. And the 1-1. Chopped foul, just foul down the third base line. We'll bring him back. 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike. Or pardon, 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out and 2 on. That ball hit well in the left center field, not going to carry. And easily handled in center field by Nolan Miller for the 3rd out of the inning. We go to the bottom of the 1st. First time seeing Salem Hills. You're watching the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament.
Okay.
And welcome back into Larry Miller Field. Dusty Lister with you. Go through the defensive lineup for Salem Hills. At first base, Zach Nelson. At second base, Corbin Gold. I'll probably go Jordan. Why would you do Jordan as defensive lineup? They're the ones in the field. Apologize about that. At first base, Kobe Carter. At second base, Evan Atkinson. At third base, Noah Gaddy. And at shortstop is Boston Williams. In the outfield is Hunter Gaddy in left, Stockton Mathis in center, and Bridger Beecham in right. And the battery for this morning, pitcher Gunnar Russell and the catcher Cade Nalder. And for Salem Hills will be 1, 2, 3, Cam Coburn, Noel Miller, and Charlie Cushing in the hole. Feels like a beautiful day today at the ballpark. Hopefully everything stays away. Hopefully the sun stays out. We'll like some cloud cover around that 4:30 game to help with the shadows. And interestingly enough, both teams went with their dark unis. I'm trying to give you color disparity on the scoreboard, as you can see on the screen. But Coach Fife went with the road blacks. Remember, if you win, you're going to play 2. And Salem Hills went with their navy blue and Carolina blue. As some watching the stream has shared, we apologize. I love to show it a little bit better, but when you're shooting through that mesh, it certainly changes your colors a little bit. But here we go. Cam Coburn leading things off. And Cam looks at ball 1. Again, the winner will come back, and we'll play at 4:30. And we'll play the winner. We'll play 4:30 against Timpanogos. As Coburn lifts this one down the right field line, tailing toward the line, will stay in, and that'll be handled easily in right field by Bridger Beecham. Saw him flash the leather a couple times yesterday, and there was one away. But yeah, so win at 11, play at 4:30, and then on the other side of the bracket, our 1:30 game will be a Region 5 battle, Viewmont and Woods Cross. And whoever wins that will play the nightcap game against Lehigh. So first chance seeing Nolan Miller today. Nolan chops that one foul down the right field line. Nolan had the complete game win on Monday in this matchup. Because if you're named Nolan and you're a pitcher, you better be able to go a complete game. If you haven't watched the documentary on Netflix with Nolan Ryan, that is really good. Chopped down the third baseline and foul. And we will bring it back, count no balls and 2 strikes. Also give a shout out to Chris Evans yesterday on Twitter. He got the movie. He was quoting Sandlot last night, for those of you who were watching the last game in the evening. That ball's up and out. And the count goes to ball and 2 strikes. So 1 ball, 2 strikes to center fielder Nolan Miller. Big swing and a miss, strike 3, and there's 2 away. I know Coach Fife wondered about his boys if they're going to be in this one. He's talking about they're a little flat on Monday night. The rain delay kind of helped them out, got their focus back. I was hoping to come out a little stronger today, but I also had a very good coach tell me, hey, you guys are going to be all amped up for the first innings. Okay, after the 3rd inning, then we're all set and ready to go. We'll really understand each other. I tend to agree with that sentiment. There's that pitch in there for a called strike 1 on Charlie Cushing, the third baseman. And the 0-1. Breaking ball that didn't break and missed the zone. Count even up at a ball and a strike. And now the 1-1. Strike 2. And looking to put Salem Hills down in order. Russell's pitch is wide of the plate. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now the 2-2. Ball lifted straight back. See if it stays in play. Nope, goes into the 3rd row. So we'll do it again. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the 2-2 swung on, strike three. And it's a 1-2-3 inning and back-to-back Ks for Gunnar Russell. We go to the second inning. We're scoreless. You're watching the 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on KSLSports.com, your online home for state championships. Welcome back in Larry Miller Field. Dusty Litster with you. 0-0 through one complete. So I'll bring up Noah Gaddy. Got bumped up in the order here for Coach Fife's been swinging a good stick. Been the 8-hole this week, but he's played well. Chops the first pitch to the left side, cushioning up with it, and on time to first for a quick out. And there's one away. But I hope you've enjoyed the coverage this week. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. And hope we're giving you something a little different at work. If you've been able to make it, or if you're from out of state, hope you've enjoyed it. And be able to support your family members or family close to you, or even if you're just a friend of an assistant coach. I want to say just a friend. If you are a great friend of assistant coach who's going to watch the stream when you're at work, like Jordan Magleby does when he's supporting Coach Logan McGregor on the Jordan staff, then, man, you get a gold star. As Coburn goes 2-0 to Evan Atkinson, the second baseman. The 2-0 pitch misses down, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Atkinson was the pitcher record on the game on Monday for Jordan. Love to get something back here. The 3-1. That ball finds his own. Talked to Chad Fife before the game. He said, man, I'd just love to find a way to finally beat Salem Hills. And it's funny in baseball or any sport, there seems to be that team you face all the time in a state tournament. Is Atkinson lines that in the left field, and it's a one-out single for Salem Hills. But I can think back of teams that played in tournaments, and I feel like we always played, leads we always played Box Elder. I think we had 5 years in a row, 6 years in a row in a state tournament playing Box Elder. And it just seems to always happen. I remember when I first got into broadcasting, it was Fremont and Alta played football every year in the state tournament. Always ran into each other. And that's certainly been the case of Jordan and Salem Hills, and they provided that classic a year ago when Jordan was up. I think it was 10-1, and Salem Hills came back to tie the game and then took the lead, and then Jordan tied it, went to extra innings, went 10 innings. And it was a 14-12 win for Coach Haney's Salem Hills Skyhawks. But these are 2 state championship head coaches. Coach Haney won a state title with the Snyder twins. And Chad Fife has won 2 of them. In 2014 and 2018. And a fun fact, the first ever state championship for Jordan High School in baseball was in their centennial year in 2007. Won it right here at Larry Miller Field against Taylorsville. Back when Taylorsville was the kings of Utah baseball. That pitch misses, 2 balls and a strike. Multiple decades of Taylorsville, Coach Cramblett and everything he built there and continued on. And now the 2-1 in there for a called strike 2. Then he had the run of Cottonwood. Back when there was 5 classifications in the state, Cottonwood got to the 5A state title game in 05. And then they went on the run with Coach John Hoover, who came out of retirement after his long stint at Pleasant Grove. They won I think it was 4 straight state championships. Coach Crawford won another. That one's bounced. Throw down to second. Going to be air-mailed. And not on time. So take the bag on the bounce pitch. The count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now a runner in scoring position for Evan Atkinson. For those 4 years was the 4 undefeated years for Tanner Robles, who never lost a game in high school. The 3-2 pitch chopped to the left side. Not going to be able to knock it down. That's going to get in the outfield. Will not score a run. Heads up base running from Evan Atkinson, and that's going to be a single for Carter Perry. So runners on the corners. When I say heads up, I mean Atkinson did not have to go, so that's why he wanted to see that ball through the infield. Heads up, a lot of guys will take off on the contact and get backdoored at third. Coburn misses there. 1-0. Corner up. Middle's back, playing for the double play ball. As Coburn gets that one past Bridger Beacom. As we've gone back and forth if it's Beecham or Beacom. That way we're not wrong. Bridger's played a good right field this week. Squares the bunt, pulls it back, ball misses. Did he call it a strike or did he call it ball? It's flashed 2-1. Yeah, it checked down at first, so it was ball. I just don't know if he gave it a late. Maybe he was saying it was away. I thought he gave it a little. Hey, if he just went hammer like the rule book says. That ball hit well into center field. That's going to score a run. Handled easily by Nolan Miller. He got a good arm, but not an arm good enough to get a catch up here as Evan Atkinson comes in to score, and Jordan takes a 1-0 lead. So Bridger does his job and brings in the run. So back to the top of the order we go, and Hunter Gaddy, the left fielder, with 2 outs and a runner on first base. And that ball lifted out of play. As that one misses. So 1 ball and 1 strike here to Hunter Gaddy. And now the 1-1. Hit well into right field, tailing down the line, and it will be foul. Those extra bases certainly would have scored the runner from first. And Carter Perry, who's got to get his running in after a good pitching performance. It was a mandatory 20 pulls back in the day. And the 1-2 lifts that one up to shallow right field. And ranging back for the out is Corbin Goal. Or probably actually got to right field. I apologize. That was Garrett Holt. We head to the bottom of the second inning. You're watching the 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on KSLSports.com. Beautiful day to be just below the Y as it overlooks us, like Dwight Schrute looks over the office. Always there to protect us. As we go to Zach Nelson, the first baseman, leading off the inning. Gunnar Russell, the pitcher for Jordan. And Nelson offers it the first pitch, and that ball goes out of play. And the 0-1. Ground ball to short. Handled cleanly on the way to first offline. Throw too tall. Pulled the first baseman off the bag. So it'll be a throwing error on Boston Williams. And Zach Nelson's aboard. And I'll bring up Roper K, the catcher. So man on here for Roper. Did I hear balk? I said no, maybe saying ball. I'm all over the place, Elena. I'm everywhere today. There's a ball. We never really hear a yell ball, right? The 1-0. Foul right back at us onto the canopy. The only other canopy bigger than this one is the one at the Denver airport. The 1-1 is inside. Now, technically, I guess you could say SoFi Stadium because it's not an indoor stadium because they consider it a canopy, but it does not stop water from coming through, as we learned in the National Championship football game. Because it rained and it was getting the field wet. The button laid down, only had to play it first. Ooh, he's safe. Russell pulled the string. And everybody's safe. An infield single. Yeah, because official book's right. That's not an error. I mean, that's just straight up. That's a mental error, but we don't count for those in the rule book. Russell totally pulled the string on that thing. Yeah. A lot of times pitchers, some guys will struggle with that, throwing it in the field. You don't see that very often. So runners on first and second as that one misses. That brings up Kason Everett, the right fielder. Pardon me, Everett's a shortstop. So an interesting formation here on the infield. So you got to still play to the double play ball in the middle. The second base kind of a little bit shorter in there. Going to crash from the corner, at least from first base side. So the bunt protection is going to be first base crashing, throwing to third. Second base will peel to first. Bunts on. And throws it on the hands, but doesn't get there. 3 balls and no strikes. Russell's got to respond here. Threatening to walk the bases loaded. And the 3-0 from Russell. In there for a called strike 1. Don't assume the pitch.
Sometimes I think they call it just because you do that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Umpire's daughter sitting next to me. Randy Upton, I'm not going to say he always did he ever did it. We got to find out from him. He'll be honest. He's training umpires. He has to be honest. Ball 4. Sierra going to walk the bases loaded, and Coach Fife going to come out for a conversation. Don't know if he'll make a change, but in an elimination game like this, you can't mess around with your pitching. Sometimes the guy doesn't have it. We got to go to the next arm. The next thing you know, you're looking at the scoreboard. It could be 4-0, 5-0. So Coach Fife has a conversation. We'll step aside. We'll be right back. So Russell will stay in as Coach Fife came out. Also go over situations. Here's where we want the ball to go. In the middle, go ahead and turn it. Corners coming, bring it home, go to first. If it pulls you in the shortstop, go ahead and take the play at third. And Everett. And that ball's bounced. It's going to play to run. Advanced runners. And it is 1-1. Tell you, as a manager or a coach, nothing just outside of walks, that kind of stuff. Just, man, we just went over this. We just, you just used your mound appearance, and to have that one. And obviously, Russell's not mean to do it, but it's one of those things like, man, just wasted it. And now the 1-0. Ball hit well to left field, going back. Off the wall. That is going to score 2. It'll be a stand-up double. Garrett Holt with a 2-run double. And it's 3-1, Salem Hills. And it brings up the designated hitter, Chase DeGraffenried. And still a chance to add to this inning for Salem Hills. Slow bender misses up. The 1-0 outside, 2 balls and no strikes. And the 2-0 from Russell. Inside, he's crossed him up. And again, 3-0. Got to come all the way back. The 3-0. And that one got him. So put the runner back at second base, a hit batsman. And now runners on first and second. So the 9-hole hitter, Caden Hansen, coming to the plate. The left fielder. As Russell's teammates coming in, trying to just help him. Hey, calm down, let's work behind you. Shows a bunt and a wild pitch. As wild as he gets there. See if Russell can get his wits about him. That ball is gripped. Sometimes youngsters, if you're pitching and you get frustrated, the tighter you grip it, the less control you have. It is a looser grip. That's all you throw harder and everything else. But when you grip it, that's what you saw there. That ball is stuck in your index finger, spiked into the left-hander batter's box. The count is 2-0 to Caden Hansen. And here's the thing. Cam Coburn's coming up next, and that kid absolutely rakes. That ball chopped to second. Here's a throw at the plate, going to be offline. 4-1, Salem Hills. Runners on the corners, top of the order, and there are no outs. And Atkinson, a very good pitcher, shocking, throw up off the line. Here comes Cam Coburn. Flew out to right last inning. And misses wide. And the hard part, too, is now you have the early steal stuff with Coach Haney. They successfully pulled it off on Monday night to get the insurance run, which was really needed late in the game. And Coburn hits this well in the left. Going to be at the left field. They're going to score the run. So Coburn does his job, brings in the run, and it is 5-1 Salem Hills with 1 out. And now Noah Miller to the plate with 1 out and a runner on first. Misses inside. And an early go. Throw to second in time. Atkinson applies the tag. And I thought they copped Russell napping on the mound. Coach Haney says, hey, I want him to go when he kicks. He did not do that. Went early. And that's the second out of the inning. And that ball lifted into right center field. And ranging over is Bridger Beecham for the final out of the inning. But it's a 5-run inning for Salem Hills, and they take a 5-1 lead as we go to the top of the third inning. You're watching the 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament. Kobe Carter going to start the inning for Coach Fife and the Beetdiggers. And that's in there for a called strike. Kobe hit by a pitch in the first inning. Chops this one to short. Everett up with it. Oh, mishandled it. Fired at first. In time. That is close, and that's the difference of hitting the front of the bag and hitting the middle of the bag. If Carter, his foot hits that front right corner, he's safe. He hit the middle of the bag on the outside, and that was the difference. And I dare say no one is going to go out and argue with the first base umpire today.
Who's out there today?
Line drive back through the box. And a one-out single from Caden Alder, who has seen the ball extremely well this week. And that brings up Stockton Mathis. One of the great first names in the state of Utah. Mathis chops to first. Here's a chance. 3-6-3 double play. Beautifully done by Zach Nelson. And that'll end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning after the double play. We go to the bottom of the third. Salem Hills coming to the plate. Welcome back in Blair Miller Field as Salem Hills with a commanding 5-1 lead here in the bottom of the third inning. And we'll start the inning with Charlie Cushing. Gunnar Russell going to stay on the mound. Let's see if he can bounce back after the tough second. And that's the thing in a game like this. I mean, it is win and move on. And your coaching has got to win the game we're in. We can't think too far ahead. And that you got to manage out your pitching and all kinds of stuff to make sure that you get 2 games in today. Because if you win 2 today and out of this part of the bracket, you're playing 1 tomorrow. But win the game you're in. But it is about managing pitches and pitchers and everything else. But you got to win this one to play later on this afternoon. And the 1-1 swung on, strike 2. And the 1-2 from Russell, called strike 3. Got the inner half. And Cushing goes down on strikes for the first out of the inning. And I bring up the first baseman, Zach Nelson. Just made a very good defensive play. Zach reached on an error last inning to get things started. How that ball missed him. Oh, it's like he had a bit thrown a boomerang to get around him like that. And the 1-0. Ripped to left. Got some top spin on it. Going to fall in. So a 1-out single for Zach Nelson. That's good teams do. They find a way to just keep putting pressure on you. And you put pressure on pitchers by having traffic on. Make them work out of the stretch. Make them think a little bit more. Have to be aware of way more stuff than just throwing that guys in the box. A lot more stuff happening between those ears on the pitching mound with a guy on base. Flared to right. Bridger is there for the catch, and he traps that one for the second out of the inning. And I'll bring up Case and Averett. Walked and scored last inning. Runner goes. Nalder's throw to second, not in time. So Zach Nelson swipes second. The Nelson family full of good athletes. James was an outstanding basketball player, state champion at Salem Hills. Of course, the Nelsons are related to the Gustons. We had that night where Salem Hills swept the 4A basketball. The girls and Lauren Guston took it first, and then Zach Nelson took the nightcap at UVU. It's a great night for Salem Hills High School, as that's in there for a called strike. And the 1-1. Bender stays up. 2 balls and a strike. Of course, Salem Hills is the home of Porter Guston, a former USC Trojan, and multiple stops in the NFL. Was a quarterback and a linebacker for Coach Higginson. That one just misses inside. So 3 balls and 1 strike. And now the 3-1. Inside, ball 4. So going to put 2 men on. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. That brings up Garrett Holt. And Holt was about 5 feet from clearing the wall for the first time this week. Yet to have a home run in the 5A state tournament in the bracket play. He was the closest one. And remember, the yellow line isn't even a home run either. The yellow line is just simply so we have depth perception to know what's going on. That is not the home run line. As we learned the field rules here in 2007, just right above the Glenn Tuckett image there, the famous ball that bounced multiple times on top of the wall and came back in the Taylorsville Jordan State Championship game. One of the things that helped Jordan hold off Taylorsville. As that one's in there for a called strike. I'll never forget calling that game. That ball launched, defied physics, hit the top of the wall, bounced straight up and down multiple times, and finally came back in. It ended up being a double instead of I think it was a 3-run home run. Ended up being a double and scored 1. This ball skied to left. Don't know if it'll carry over the wall. Be a warning track hit, taken in over the shoulder. So nonchalantly on a nice run there by Hunter Gaddy for the 3rd out of the inning. We go to the top of the 4th. It is Salem Hills 5, Jordan 1. You're watching the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament.
Okay. You ain't on my level, then shoot. I can't talk. 가슴 질투 더 높이 올라와. 공기도 달라.
Welcome back in to BYU. Dusty Lister with you. Glad to have you along with us. And we'll start the inning off with Boston Williams. As Coburn misses the zone there. 1 ball, no strikes. And that one fouled off. He was the count of the ball and a strike. I want to welcome everybody who's watching from wherever you are. If you're at work, you're supposed to be running a hydration company and you're watching baseball and listening to me, I appreciate you. 2 balls and a strike. And I know one of our viewers, Crosby Goal, is watching. Congratulations, he and his wife, on their terrific news. As that ball chopped to third, Cushing up with it. Over to first in time as Nelson able to stay on the bag for the first out of the inning. But always fun to find out, expecting, but when you got two expecting instead of one, that's always a little bit of a charge into the system. But if you're going to take time to watch us at work and let me know about it, we'll make sure to mention you. So one away as that ball's up and out here to Noah Gaddy. And if I just shared news I shouldn't have, Crosby, I apologize. Called your football games when you're at Alta. I feel like that gives me license. Oh, it in there for called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two balls and a strike. And that went in there for called strike 2. And strike 3. Noah Gaddy swings through that one for the second out of the inning. And Coburn is moving right along. And that one's wide of the plate. As Evan Atkinson comes to the plate. Atkinson singled and scored last inning. Or pardon me, back in the second. Lifts this one into right field. And that'll be handled easily by Garrett Holt. And now we'll do it for the top of the fourth. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 5-1 Salem Hills. You're watching the 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament. 5-1 the lead. Salem Hills leading Jordan. Chase Graff and Reed will lead things off for Coach Haney. And that pitch is off the plate. Graff and Reed walked and scored his last plate appearance. Chops this one at the plate. Foul. So evens the count at 1-1. One ball, 1 strike to DeGraff and Reed. That ball lifted in the shallow center field. Atkinson going back. Man, oh. I hope he's okay out there. A little bit of contact. That's a long way to go for Stockton Mathis, but I will restate this. Outside man gets the ball, and if the center fielder can get it, that is his ball. That's a nice play there by Atkinson. But Mathis is tracking that ball coming in. That's rule of thumb, especially center fielder. Center fielder gets anything he can get to. The outside man in. But Atkinson retires before the first out of the inning, and Mathis seems to be okay. But a yard sale out nonetheless. Everyone lost their hats on that one. As that pitch misses, 1 ball and no strikes. Here to Caden Hansen, as Hansen looks at strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. And the 1-1. That one's bounced. 2 balls and a strike. A 2-1. Misses inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. And that one misses. So we're going to put the man on a 1-out walk as we go to the top of the order. So to the top of the order we go, and it's Cam Coburn. Come to the plate, the runner on first base and 1 out. And he offers her that first one. 0-1. Coburn flew to right in the first. Sack fly in the second. Runner goes. Not a hit and run. Straight steal. Takes it on the breaking ball. I talk about guessing right there for Coach Haney. Got the right pitch, a 64-mile-an-hour breaking ball. And the count goes to 1 ball and a strike. And now a runner in scoring position here for Coburn. Or probably no balls and 2 strikes. I didn't know he called that a strike. Coburn chops at the short. Williams up with it. And has to come off the bag and make the tag. Does Kobe Carter. And Coburn retired for the second down of the inning. So now to the plate, the center fielder, Nolan Miller. And Miller chops this to the left side. Pretty play, but the bounce throw won't get there. That's an outstanding job there by Boston Williams getting to that ball at all. And I'll bring up Charlie Cushing with runners on the corners and 2 outs. So Noel Miller with the infield single. And Gunnar Russell's got to focus up here. We saw this, we talked about on Monday night, the early steal to try to get the insurance run. I know Coach Haney will be aggressive. That's in there for a called strike 1. It's bounced at the plate. No, got him. Hit batsman. So put him on. Bases are loaded for Salem Hills. I want to say, we can bring Coach Fife out of the dugout potentially here. But I wonder if he's wondering about where it got him. He's saying on the foot. No matter what sport it is, if the umpire is decisive and say, nope, this is what happened, you're usually going to be like, yeah, I got you. But since he asked him, got him. So Cushing's aboard. As there's a hit by pitch there for Zach Nelson. So bring in a run, and it's 6-1. And that will probably be the day here for Russell. As Coach Fife comes out. We'll leave the camera up. We'll just mute. You're watching the 2023 5A State Baseball Tournament. So it brings up Roper K, the catcher, with bases loaded and 2 outs. Kai Smith is the new pitcher for Coach Fife. And that pitch misses wide of the plate. And it's 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So Kai Smith comes in and inherits the 3 runners. As Uh-oh. The 1-1 out of the zone. So apologize to the Nelson family. Zach just got hit by a pitch. He's not related to the other Nelsons. That's what happens when you have a unique last name like myself. Everyone's related if we have the last name. So I apologize for assuming that. So we'll correct that. Appreciate the parent came up and let us know. We don't get family trees as part of anything. We tend to do that because I usually get text messages about, don't you know that so-and-so's cousins? How don't you know that? So I apologize for assuming. My bad. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and bases loaded. That one misses up and in, and the count runs full. Roper singled and scored in the second. Flew out to right in his last plate appearance. Runners go, and that misses up, and walk in another run. It is 7-1, Salem Hills. Still good. So now coming to the plate is Case and Averett. So hit a runner, bring in a run, and now walk a runner, bring in a run. As Kai Smith's going to try to stop the carousel. Gets called strike 1. The 0-1 misses up and in. Ball and a strike. The 1-1. Strike 2. Kaysen has walked both appearances today. Scored in the second. Love to come through here. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out, bases loaded. The 1-2 misses inside, and Nalder able to keep that in front, not get to the wall. So he was a count of 2-2. And now the 2-2 chopped foul. So do it one more time. The 2-2 misses up. The count is full. So here you go. You got to find the zone here for Kai Smith. Make him swing it. Runners go. Lifted out of play. And the wind sprints will start again. A lot of times baseball guys will, why are you running so much? Well, it's for this moment. Again, the payoff pitch. Fouled out of play. The other reason you do it is such famously quipped in the movie Miracle, legs feed the wolves. And again the payoff pitch. Misses inside and walk in their 3rd run of the inning. And here's what Jordan's flirting with at the moment. A base clearing anything puts this game in the 10-run rule, as we'll go to the top of the 5th inning. And that's going to bring up Garrett Holt. And the reason I bring that up is Garrett Holt banged off the wall early in the game. And with 2 outs, you're not freezing on anything, so runners will go on contact. As Holt looks at ball 1. Doubled and scored in the second, flew out to left last inning. And the 1-0 misses. So the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. And that one's in there for called strike 1. And now the 2-1. Strike 2. Chance to get out of the inning here for Smith. And the 2-1, probably the 2-2, lifted into center field. And Mathis is there for the final out of the inning. So we go to the top of the 5th, and it is Salem Hills leading 8-1 over Jordan. You're watching the 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on KSLSports.com. Top of the 5th inning, Carter Perry leading things off for Jordan. How can they respond down 7 runs? Perry singled in his last at bat, or probably his only at bat, as Coburn misses wide. And that one misses as well. That's in there for a called strike 1. So 2 balls and a strike. And that one's wide. So now 3 balls and a strike to leadoff man Perry. The 3-1 pitch is hit in the right center field. Going to get down. And that is a leadoff double. No, throws in time from Nolan Miller. I should have just assumed it. Miller's throw was there, but it is a double. Nice play by Miller to even make it closer at second base. Yeah. He catches it clean. That's an out. And you see the pitching arm in Nolan Miller. I mentioned he got the win on Monday night in this matchup. Nolan's got a hose. And this ball lifted into the left field. Not going to be able to advance the runner. And camping underneath it there is Caden Hansen for the first out of the inning. Top of the order. And it's Hunter Gaddy. Hunter 0 for 2 thus far. Could score a run for the Beetdiggers with the single here. Back through the box. Miller's going to come up throwing. Nolan Miller throw at the plate, not cut off, not in time. And it's an RBI single for Noah Gaddy. Or probably Hunter Gaddy. As Carter Perry, and that leadoff double leads to a run. And now Kobe Carter comes to the plate. That ball lifted in the infield. Coburn has it and takes care of it. From Jump Street, Coburn had it. And I'll bring up the catcher, Caden Alder. Sidearm pitch misses inside. And that's there for called strike 2. Or probably strike 1, apologize. I'm sure Principal Bruce Eschler is watching. See him on the 4th of July, I'm sure, as I usually do. He did it was the Eric Kerr swap. Kerr came from Jordan to Corner Canyon. Bruce goes from Corner Canyon to become the principal at Jordan. Well, the nice guys. And the 2-1 pitch fouled off at the plate. The count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And plunked him. Catchers will wear it. But if you're Jordan, you really want Alder to be able to swing it. One of their better hitters. And now Stockton Mathis comes to the plate. How you doing? Keep it moving. The horn we just heard. So Stockton Mathis looking to assist his team out with 2 outs and runners on first and second. And that one misses down away. And the 1-0 misses. 2 balls and no strikes. Much to the chagrin of the Navy and Columbia blue-clad crew. The 2-0 misses away as well. So 3 balls and no strikes to Stockton Mathis. And that's in there for a called strike. Chop back to the pitcher. Coburn has it over to first, and that'll do it for the top of the 5th. Jordan adds 1, can't add more. We go to the bottom of the 5th. You're watching the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament. And welcome back in Larry Miller Field. So when you're nice to umpires, are nice to you. Travis Turner brings me lunch. That means we don't say one thing about anything that Travis does at first base today. Everything's the correct call today at first base. As leading off the inning is Chase DeGraffenreid, just like he led off the 4th. As Chase looks at ball 2. New pitcher for Jordan is number 28, River Schmidt. Oh, just missed on the outside. And that's in there for a called strike. Three balls and a strike here to Chase DeGraffenreid. Foul down the first baseline. The count goes full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. On the day, Chase walked and scored in the second and flew out twice to center field and flew out to center field his last at bat in the 4th. As that ball lifted and Stockton Mathis ranges over to make the catch. So one away. That brings up Caden Hansen, the left fielder. Caden walked and scored last inning. That's kind of been the undoing of Jordan today. It's been walks, a couple errors, a lot of hit by pitches. It's funny, my coaching mentor, Jeff Cisneros, when we would coach together, and I kept the book and everything, and he'd say, how many walks? I said, well, we got 4 walks and 1 hit basket. He goes, that's 5 walks. Get all bad. Same thing. So I tend to lump them together. Of course, try to get Jeff to come join the broadcast this week, but he's celebrating graduation with his daughter Delaney, graduating college, taking her and her husband down to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks play the Boston Red Sox, who just got ceremoniously beaten 2 straight games by the Angels. They'll play this afternoon. Hopefully it's a clean sweep for the Halos against the Red Stockings. Is that one chopped foul? Full count to Caden Hansen. I didn't say that much more authoritatively now that that Riley's not here and he's a Red Sox fan. And there's a big swing and a miss. Strike 3 and 2 outs. Here to after Caden Hansen goes down on strikes. Nice job of coming here, River Schmidt, trying to hold things down, and that's really the job here from Jordan. From here on out, you're down 6 runs. You've got to throw up zeros and throw up on one end. You got to throw up crooked numbers when you're at the plate. You got to use the arms you got to use. See if you can hold them down for the next 3 innings, and if your offense can come alive. As that pitch misses, here for Cam Coburn, leadoff man and starting pitcher today for Coach Scott Haney. And that one misses inside. Haven't mentioned the umpires today. On first base, Steve Davis. Third base, Dylan Hampton. And on the plate is Lars Berkland. And I dare anyone to go ask Steve Davis if he wants to arm wrestle. I might brag on a secret society Discord about my benching prowess, but I'm not doing it. That's in there for a called strike. Three balls and 1 strike. Here to Coburn. Swung on, strike 2. Surprised to see Coburn go chase after that pitch up 3-1. And the payoff pitch. Hit to the left side, taken cleanly, throw to first. In time. Nice play by Noah Gaddy for the final out of the inning. So they do throw up a 0 on one end. They'll bring up the offense when we come back. You're watching the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on KSLSports.com.
Okay. Then shoot, I can't die. 같은 질투 더 높이 올라와. 공기도 달라.
Top of the 6th inning. As Jordan trying to make something happen. They got 2 at-bats to make up a 6-run deficit. And I only keep bringing that up because of what happened last year when the roles were reversed and Salem Hills came back on Jordan. And able to win that game was at 14-12. We'll try to be able to get the information on that one. It was a chop foul. On the day, Bo Williams 0 for 2. Flew out to left, grounded out to third in his last at bat. That ball lifted. A foul, but it didn't play. And Zach Nelson corrals that one. May move as smooth as John Nelson, but they're not related. We'll make that a running joke because I feel bad about having that wrong. But just you assume when Nelson, it's not Nelson. So I apologize about that. But yeah, last year it was Jordan up 10-1 in the second inning. Salem Hills scored 2 in the third, 7 in the fourth. That was where the difference was. They had 1 in the fifth to take the lead. And then in the sixth inning, Jordan scored 2 to force extras. Salem Hills played it 2 in the 10th to take them 14-12. As Cam Coburn's day is done. And I think smartly so. Salem Hills wanted to know pitch counts in between innings, want to make sure they'll not burn his arm. Because they're going to need him. If they're going to continue to win, they're going to need him later on. As we have a new pitcher for Salem Hills, number 3, it's Caleb Holman. Holman pitched yesterday. See if he can hold it down here against Jordan. Let him warm up and he'll step aside. So Noah Gaddy will step in against Caleb Holman. And Noah looks at strike 1. And that one misses wide. Can't even hit a ball and a strike. And the 1-1 wide of the plate. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Noah Gaddy. Noah got moved up in the order today. We're talking about went from the 8 hole to 6. Try to give this offense a spark. He's 0 for 2 this far. Does lift this one into right field. Tailing away, but handled easily out there by Garrett Holt for the second out. And now that'll bring up Evan Atkinson, the second baseman. That one misses wide. Apologize, get that scoreboard updated. 2 away. And now the 1-0 in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. And that one misses, much to the chagrin of Salem Hills faithful. And the 2-1 swung through in strike 2. Oh, he didn't swing through it. It's my bad. Yeah. The ball lifted into left field. Hansen's there and pulls it in. A 1-2-3 inning for Holman coming in relief. Well, he gets the last 2 outs as Coburn's day is done as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And it's 8-2 Salem Hills. You're watching the 5A state tournament. And welcome back in bottom of the 6th inning. And it is Nolan Miller leading things off. On the day, Nolan singled and scored his last at bat in the 4th. Looks at ball 1. And it's River Schmidt on the mound coming back here for Jordan. Count goes 2 balls and no strikes. And the 2-0 misses. 2 balls and a strike. Or probably 3 balls and no strikes. Day 3 today. Quick comeback and the first game of the day. That's in there for a called strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. But 4 games today. If the one-loss teams win, we'll be back here on Thursday. As that ball lifted down the first base line and out of play. But if one of the one-loss teams wins, we'll be back here tomorrow for that game, or any of those games. Of course, softball moves from the Cottonwood Complex to here at Gail Miller Field, which is just right behind us, literally. If you haven't been to the baseball and softball complex here at BYU, pretty nice as that ball's chopped to second base. Miller legs it out. No. Made it close. I love the hustle there from Nolan Miller. But put out a 4-3 put out. But if you haven't been here, it's so convenient for an event like state championship baseball and softball. Because the facilities literally share the same concourse. They're just back-to-back. That ball misses. And the 1-0. Misses as well. 2 balls and no strikes. And that ball lifted down the third baseline, drifting out of play, is over there. Did not make the catch. Thought he had it. And Noah Gaddy, and it was a cool guy move. I thought he had it. And the 2-1. Foul tip, caught, strike 2. And the 2-2 pitch misses inside. Full count. And now the payoff pitch. Misses up and away. And the man's aboard, a 1-out walk. So Cushing gets aboard. Back-to-back walks for Charlie. And that brings up Zach Nelson. He's had a good day from the plate. And on the defensive end at first base, looks a strike 1. Reached on an error and scored in the second. Singled in the third. And has been hit by a pitch. The last 2 at-bats. Hits this one well to center, but not too well as Stockton Mathis ranges over for the catch. And the second out of the inning. And that brings up Roper K, the catcher. And that one bounced. Going to advance the runner to second. So Cushing now in scoring position. As that pitch is wide of the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. And there's strike 1. Roper singled at the infield single back in the second inning. If you recall, it was a chopper back to the pitcher that he legged out. As the pitcher, Russell is kind of nonchalantly went to throw it to first base, and Kay able to beat it out. And walked and was stranded to second base last at bat. lifts this one in the infield. Someone's got to take control, and Kobe Carter does for the final out of the inning. So we go to the top of the 7th. Last chance opportunity here for Jordan, trailing 8-2. You're watching the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on KSLSports.com, your online home for state championships.
Okay. Then shoot, I can't die. 가슴 질투다 높이 올라와. 공기도 달라. So high.
Top of the 7th inning, last chance opportunity for the Jordan Beetdiggers. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up for Coach Chad Fife. And last chance opportunity, down 6 runs to Salem Hills. Salem Hills holds on to win this one. They will come back and will play at 4:30 against Timpanogos. Coming up next is going to be a Region 5 tilt, Viewmont and Woods Cross, the 17 and 5 seeded teams in the 5A tournament. Win in the morning, come back in the afternoon. That is the mission for our first 4 teams we see today. Leading things off is Carter Perry, the designated hitter for Jordan. And Carter is 2 for 2. Singled in the 2nd, doubled and scored in the 5th. Would like to get things started for the Beetdiggers. That's in there for a called strike. The 0-1. Foul back to the screen. Holman on the 0-2, 1 to burn. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. The 1-2 swung on, strike 3. And Perry retired for the first out of the inning. Again, going to take a big inning from Jordan to keep this game going. And that brings up Bridger Beecham. Actually, Bridger is being pinch hit for. And that is number 18, Colton Austin. And Austin singles back up the middle. So a 1-out single from the pinch hitter. And it'll bridge to the top of the order. And out to the top of the order, and Hunter Gaddy coming to the plate. Gaddy had an RBI single his last time up. As that ball flared in the shallow left field. Coburn ranges over and makes the catch. At least I'm assuming it was Coburn and not Averett. So I'll apologize, but it is Averett out there. Couldn't see the number. That brings up Kobe Carter with 2 outs. Jordan down to the final out of the season with a runner on first. And the breaking ball misses wide. And now the 1-0. Tipped into the glove, strike 1. One ball and 1 strike from Holman. And Carter fouls it away down to the final strike of the season for Jordan. Salem Hills can punch their ticket to the game against Timpanogos as they can advance to the semifinals. The 1-2. Bender misses. He evens the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Excited to see Viewmont and Woods Cross come up next. Mentioned Woods Cross, a 17 seed. They find a lot of odds to get here. And now the 2-2 pitch wide of the plate, and the count goes full. Viewmont coming back after their extra inning win against Brighton yesterday. Took that one 3-2 in 8 innings. Runner will go. The payoff pitch, line down the third base line, and is fair. Colton Awesome around third. He'll come in to score on a 2-out RBI double for Kobe Carter. And it is 8-3. A memory Kobe won't forget. You don't want to be the last out, that's right. Coming to the plate now is Caden Alder, the catcher. Singled back in the third. Was hit by a pitch his last at bat. Looks at ball 1. And now the 1-0. Lifted out of play. As I mentioned, Alder's been swinging a hot bat in the first couple of games here at BYU. To the intentional walk last night. And now the 1-1. Hit well in the left field. That ball's going back, still ranging back, hung up a little bit, and that ball's down. Miscommunication out in the outfield, and it's another RBI double. Miscommunication out in the outfield between Hanson and Nolan Miller. And back-to-back RBI doubles. I scored as a hit. I don't know what the official scorebook says. It went off the glove. Not a routine play. As Stockton Mathis comes to the plate. Mentioned Stockton yesterday. Had a very good day from the plate at 3 RBIs. Leading the way for Jordan against Orem. Can pick up another RBI here. Mathis is a senior. Looks at the ball. Nalder a senior. And so is Kobe Carter. So all playing there potentially right now with 1 out left. Their last moments as Jordan Beetdigger baseball players. And that ball is down. 2 balls and no strikes. We get our scoreboard updated. Probably 3 balls, no strikes. And the 3-0 in there for a called strike. And the 3-1 in there for a called strike 2. Now down their final strike. They'll put the runner in motion at second base and Caden Alder. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. And Mathis flares this to left field. Hansen coming in and will make the catch for the final out. Jordan put a run in it, but it just was not enough. Salem Hills advances to the semifinals to take on Timpanogos. They'll be back here at 4:30. We'll have that stream for you right here on KSLSports.com. But to Jordan and these seniors, have been a great run for these kids. Chad Fife has does an outstanding job with that program. As mentioned, 2-time state championship head coach. And for these seniors, in moments they don't forget, a lot of them will go on and go play some baseball. But those moments wearing those colors you've worn for 4 years for many of them is a tough time to see it come to an end. But again, our final score, Salem Hills 8, Jordan 4. Salem Hills will come back to take on Timpanogos. Our Heidemann Associates players of the game for Salem Hills. Going to go. I thought Coburn pitched a good game. Obviously came out just to preserve some of the pitching numbers. Offensively, we'll go with, there's a bunch of guys we could pick from. We'll go Garrett Holt. Garrett Holt hit the double off the wall to get things started today. Kind of set the tone for the Salem Hills lineup, but really got things going. So Coburn pitching performance, and then Holt at the dish. But again, our final score, Salem Hills 8, Jordan 4. We'll see Salem Hills back here at 4:30. For Andrew Hare, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and for watching KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the 2023 5A State Championship Baseball Tournament on your online home for state championships, KSLSports.com. We'll be back with our 1:30 game shortly, Woods Cross versus Viewmont.